I want to tell you about my grandpa. As you already know, at one point in his life, he had a really interesting job as chief carver on Mount Rushmore. But I don't want to tell you about my grandfather. I'd like to bring him to life for you so that you could see in your own mind or some of the things that he experienced. So let's imagine that the year is 1936, which explains my knickers. Let's imagine that my grandfather is in the studio with 5-foot models of the president's faces. And as he's measuring the faces to prepare them to carve, he likes to have a little conversation with Abraham Lincoln. It might go a little something like this. President Lincoln, buongiorno. Today we carve the eye. But primo first, we measure the points on the eye. Avanti. My friend Mr. Lincoln, why do all the people say you have an ugly face? To me, you have a beautiful face. I know you. I know every bump, every line of this face. Quanto si bello. Amici, buongiorno. Please, everyone say buongiorno. Buongiorno. Amici, you come to watch me work, huh? Amici, do you know who you are? I'm going to tell you where you are. You are in the studio of the genius, the master, Mr. Gutzon Borla. Amici, every day the master and me, we try to find the best way to measure the small face in the studio and move the measurement to the big faces on the mountain. You see, Amici, in the morning, I measure the small eye of Lincoln. In the afternoon, I carve the eye. But how do I get to the top every day? Amici, I want to imagine 706 steps every day, Amici. I walk 500 feet in the air, and I stand at a scaffold. The sun is so hot it beats the back of my head, huh? The wind shakes me as I try to do my work. And I hold a drill that is 45 pounds. Mamma mia! And when I carve, my face is white like a ghost from the dust. For this special work, they pay me $1.50 an hour. This is the depression. This is very good pay. But Amici, all this time I don't tell you my name. Sono Luigi del Bianco, chief carver on Mount Rushmore. I come from Italy to America to live, to work, to carve. But I miss my family. So one year, I drive to South Dakota, 1,800 miles, to bring my wife, Nicoletta, and my boys to live with me in the Black Hills. My boys, they love to live in the Black Hills. Do you know what they love most of all, my sons? Come as it here. The cowboys and Indians. Yeah, see, in fact, they want to learn to ride a horse, so I get my brothers to teach them. Amici, would you like to know who my brothers are? Lakota Sioux Indians. È vero. I'm Luigi, an Italian. I become a blood brother with the chief of the Sioux Indians. Si, and I carved their beautiful faces. And my wife, Nicoletta, you know what she does every Sunday? We go to the reservation, and she makes macaroni and sauce for the whole Indian tribe. È vero. She teaches the Indian ladies how to cook the sauce. They love my wife's sauce, huh? And before we eat, I teach the Indians to say these two things. Everyone, please, I want you to say salute. Salute. Say cedani. That means good health, 100 years. My friends in Portchester, they always ask me, Luigi, how do you feel to do this work on the mountain? You have to carve the refinement of expression in the faces. This is something only an artist can do, Amici. I am the only one who can do this. And I tell them, Maron and me, we have nothing but problems when we try to carve the faces. Everyone, I want you to imagine, You know Mount Rushmore? I want you to think in your mind, the original model has the faces and the bodies as well. See, Mr. Lincoln has a shoulder and a chest and a body. Mr. Washington has his whole coat and a lapel. Why did we not carve 465 feet of presidents on the mountain? I tell you why. The stone below the faces is bad stone, amici. It's called pegmatite stone. Mica, quartz, crystals inside. When you try to carve stone with crystals, it falls apart. We have a very big problem carving below the faces. But we don't give up. We find another way. You know what we do? We just carve the faces. But I think they look very nice this way, huh? Amici, now I want you to imagine the four faces. And Mr. Washington, he is the first, see? But in the beginning, he was not the first. Thomas Jefferson was the first. But halfway through, amici, we hit pegmatite stone, mica, quartz. The face starts to fall apart. We cannot finish. We have a very big problem. But we don't give up. Do you know what we do? We take dynamite, we blast off the bad face, and it is my job to place Mr. Jefferson on the other side of Washington the way you see him today. And this is why Mr. Roosevelt, he looks a little smushy, you know, because he had to move over, but I think he should move by now. Amici, one day I am in Portchester. I have my wine, I listen to the radio, and I sing my Italian songs. Maybe I sing a little song for you, Una canzone, un momento, Oh, sole mio, sta in fronte a te. Oh, sole mio, sta in fronte a te. Oh, sole mio, sta in fronte a te, sta in fronte a te. And amici, when I am done singing, I get a phone call from the master, Mr. Gussenborg, and he says, Bianco, you must come to the mountain subito. There is a dangerous crack in the lip of Jefferson, filled with pegmatite stone. It grows, and I trust only you can fix it. Amici, what do? I get in my car, and I drive for 1,800 miles to South Dakota. And because there is no Italian food there, I put in the back seat of my car, provolone, soprasede, avocado, parmigiano, I have to have my Italian food, And I walk up those 706 steps into my scaffold with the sun on my back and the wind blowing, and I take out that bad crack in the lip, and I put in a new piece of stone, and I carve it, and I finish it, and amici, when I am done, you cannot even tell the crack was there. So I guess you could say that I, Luigi, I saved the face of Thomas Jefferson. Amici, I look at my watch. I have to leave you now. I have to finish measuring the eye of Abraham Lincoln. But before I go, I want to say one more thing. My friends in Portchester, they asked me, Luigi, how do you feel to be the only chief carver on Mount Rushmore? To finish the faces, to make them look so lifelike. And I say, oh, amici, it is, how do you say, a great honor. And of all the artists in the world, Mr. Boardman chose me, Luigi, to do this work. When I was a boy in Italy, I had a big dream. To come to America to carve something special. Hey, amici, does my dream come true? Yes. This is my passion, to be an artist. My friends, do you have a passion? Do you have something you love to do, something you need to do? I tell you, do it. Give the gift you have. Work hard. Live your life. La vita bella. I am Luigi del Bianco, and I say to you, and please you say back to me, ciao. Ciao. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. So that's a little bit of my grandpa's story. Out of Rushmore Shadow is a book that I wrote about his legacy. It's available downstairs. But that's not the whole story. You should know that in 1985, the most definitive book on Rushmore was written, called The Carving of Mount Rushmore. This is the book you get if you want to learn about this iconic sculpture. My grandfather is not mentioned once. I can still hear my Uncle Caesar saying, that's like talking about the Yankees and not mentioning DiMaggio. And I think he was right. So my uncle and I decided to find out the truth. I took a pilgrimage to Mount Rushmore and I asked, my grandfather was the most important carver, where is his plaque? Well, the plaque they showed me had the 400 names of everyone who worked on the mountain, from laborers to secretaries to drillers to the man who put the soul into the faces of the presidents. With all due respect to those other jobs, this was an error of omission that was unacceptable. So my uncle and I decided to advocate for our beloved family member. We went and made 6 trips to the Library of Congress, where we did research and uncovered incredible documents in the words of Gutzon Borglum, where Borglum says that my grandfather was worth any 3 men in America for this type of work. And that when my grandfather quit several times because of harassment and bullying, Borglum paid my grandfather out of his own pocket to get him back. He needed his chief carver. When we submitted these incredible papers to the staff at Rushmore, their response was very simple. Your grandfather was a worker. He will be credited within the group of 400 workers. Do you know that we shared these papers with every superintendent and chief of interpretation and park ranger for 25 years, and our pleas fell on deaf ears. But perseverance finally paid off. On September 16, 2017, my grandfather was finally given his own plaque, finally acknowledging him as the chief carver on Mount Rushmore. And history does not always tell you the whole story. Sometimes you have to find the truth yourself, and I was fortunate to find out the truth for somebody I love. Thank you for letting me tell you about it.